stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Call this meeting to order. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
The second?
Second.
Any discussion or changes? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Consent agenda.
So moved.
For the second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions, comment?
Lot of money.
No. If not, do a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Yeah.
Or no, yes, a motion.
Yep.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Are you with us?
Yeah. Aye.
For you really got for it, yeah. And is there anything else? Do you have anything?
Mayor Construction was here today to inspect and clean out the, ozone generation, the ozone basins we have, which is where the ozone comes in contact with water. Yeah. As we expect, actually, as we hoped, there was sludge in one of them that we hope is creating some of our problems. It had about 4 feet of sludge in it. So it hadn't been cleaned out in some time, maybe ever. We changed out all the diffusers while we were doing this. It's the opportune time to do it. These basins are about 20 foot deep. So we have to drain them, and then we pump air down in there to get all the ozone out. Mayor Construction has, concealed space certification, which is what you gotta have. We actually called 3 companies, one wasn't interested, they don't have the certification. Another one, it's just a little bit small for them to consider. And Mayor, we've done work with before, and I have in other communities, they do quality work, and came here and got it knocked out in one day. So hopefully, we'll see if we can get our ozone generator back up running again before long. That's all I got.
All right. Anybody on the council, got anything?
No.
No? Margot?
For the utility bill discount for December, the, little contest that we did where you donate food or school supplies, Ruth Lang won $25 off her December bill for donating food, and Joyce Richmond won, for donating school supplies. And I want to thank Ruth for making that happen.
Is that a new deal?
Yeah, did that, part of the Kansas Power Pool Week celebration activities.
And I'm gonna pick it up after the meeting tonight, and I will deliver it to the food bank and to the school, so.
All right, good for you. Anything else, Margot?
No,
Anybody else? Nothing?
I have nothing.
All right. Well, public forum? Anybody else there?
I'm ready, Mr. Bush.
I guess my first question is, you know, there's a number of people were here last time and talked about this bond issue. Is that an already done deal now? I thought they kicked the can down the road a little bit. You know,
We approved it at our last meeting.
Huh?
It was approved at our special meeting.
At a special meeting, closed meeting?
No,
No. All
never.
right.
What
Was
was
that back
approved?
on? When I hear that day?
What was approved was ordinance 1497, is going to go to, an election, December 20th. And we'll decide if you guys can vote no or yes.
Okay. My question is, how does that bond, process work? I'm trying to learn a little bit about city affairs and so on. How does that bond work?
There are professionals that handle the sale of bonds to make them available to basically, I don't wanna say any investor, but people that are qualified or certified to purchase bonds. The bonds has terms, number one being the amount, number two being the life. And the way they bid on the bond is by the interest rate that they want to receive. Low bidder, meeting all the standards and specifications as set forth, is awarded the bond. The money is then, can handle one of two ways, but normally the city will, issue requests for bond funds as we spend the money after the council has selected the projects that the bond will be used for. It's kinda like a mortgage on your house. You go to the bank, you get a mortgage, you pay it back every month until it's paid
Okay.
off, about the same way.
All right. How do those impact just, you know, like a property owner or somebody, just a citizen of
Yeah, realize that the number one thing that a bondholder is interested in is being paid back. He wants his money back, just like the bank does. They want their money back. They want security. In the state of Kansas, the source of revenue that creates the greatest level of security is property tax. So they always want, bondholders always wanna know that property tax can be used. And the more secure your bond is, the more secure the note on your house is, the lower the interest rate is that you get. So mentioning the word property tax as a possible source of revenue in the bond gets you a better interest rate or lower. The conversations that I have had with members of this council is that they do not intend to use property tax as a source of revenue. There are other sources that they have that can be utilized to make the bond payments.
Okay.
You do everything you can to make your bond attractive to people that would wanna buy your bond.
But that could be anybody that had resources, or you have to be certified.
I'm sure there's certification, because we're talking about projects that are in the millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And the bigger your, project is in volume, the better interest rate that you get. 10 million is much better than 1, 50 is better than 10. But you know, of course, for us, it's gonna be a smaller bond than that because of the repayment capability that we have.
Okay. And you were saying that, there's gonna be a vote coming down yet.
Ordinance
And
twenty-two
that is
actually,
exactly what about?
ordinance 22, the city actually put into effect, and it took the power away from the people to vote on the bonds. Always before, we've gone out to the public and said, we need this, and we've always approved it.
Well, let's take a step back. Certain bonds, in Kansas state statute, there are things that can be repaid with bonds, and there are certain things that can't. There are certain things that need to go to a vote of the public to issue the bonds, and there are certain things that don't require you to go to a vote of the public. And so the ordinance that we passed would allow us to, if it's on our capital improvement plan, it would allow us to bond that without a vote of the public. That's what the charter ordinance did. So now that, we have voted, the other night at our last meeting, to send that to a vote of the public because of the petition. So we've sent it to a vote of the public that now everybody will be able to vote on December 20th.
All
But
right.
tell me
Whether it's
what
gonna
they're
go
voting on.
to the bond issue at all.
Whether that charter ordinance will be allowed to be effective or not.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
In my opinion, what that ordinance did was take your voting power away from you. That's what this is all about.
I don't think we're really talking about opinions. I think we need to be speaking in facts, which is what I
Well,
just
that
gave
is
you.
a
It's
fact.
exactly what I told you.
Well, Zach, you're a Navy veteran, right?
I am.
I'm an Army veteran, combat veteran. And as I served my country, even only in for 3 years, one of the things I felt like I served for was a freedom of choice. It seems like this is a method or an avenue by which to circumvent that choice that we might have. Now, I'm kind of hearing that maybe there are certain bonds that we can't do through the people. Is that right?
Yeah, there's certain projects, and certain things that would have the capability to be bonded, without that the council would be able to approve and be able to bond without, any.
Are those type of things still available to go to the public and approve on those bonds?
I mean,
Or is this something beyond?
to be honest, I don't know, I would assume so, but I don't wanna speak one way or another. I've just looked at the statutes that I know that there's certain things, that you can bond within the city that you don't need to go to the public for. Things, a lot of the time it has to do with, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's like water lines and,
Infrastructure?
infrastructure, thank you. Yes, a lot of time it has to do with infrastructure, is what those statutes are. I don't know what those statutes are off the top of my head, or I'd tell you. I don't know what those are off the top of my head.
If you do that, is the council gonna kind of put out their vision for what they wanna do in that category of
We have
bond bondage?
we've passed a capital improvement plan already that's on file. I think you guys have it
Correct.
right inside
And
City Hall.
that plan has gone to the people so they can read it and see it, understand it?
It's available, is it on the website?
No,
No.
No, it was in a council packet, but you would have to dig for it, but we can definitely, if you want a copy, you can definitely come in the
I would
office.
appreciate that.
And rest assured, the magnitude of projects on that capital improvement plan is larger in dollars than we would be able to bond. So the council would have to pick and choose
Okay.
what they did.
I know infrastructure's, is important.
That was key.
But it felt like to me, initially, you were taking a page out of what's going on in Washington DC, and just going straight ahead and doing things without the populace being able to be a part of that. But I was a senior pastor of a fairly large church in Wichita for 11 years. And our sum was only about maybe a little over 4 million, as we set a vision for the church, how we could serve the community, how we serve nations around the world. And we were very transparent in it and put it before our members of the church, even made a video, and everything about it. And they approved it overwhelmingly, and the church grew, and even now that mortgage that we put on there has been paid. It's great when people are really behind a vision that you can get a hold of and really feel you're a part of, and feel good about it. But, the other thing I have is, I know you're all aware of the economic situation we have right now, and like you say, it could go back to property tax, but probably not, I don't know. But we are in such an economic, situation here in America, and it's getting worse. I read a lot of bulletins and pamphlets and from various financial organization groups, and there's not one very positive about what's coming. And they think it's gonna get worse than it is even now. And I hope you've all been up to buy a dozen of eggs and those kind of things. And my heart has always been speaking for people who have less than I have. So I hope that the council and all that you do will be transparent, but also be mindful of how this plays back on people who are on set incomes when they retire and so on. And, our 401s and all of this is not making a whole lot. And also I'm reading that the 401s are in jeopardy from the government, if you've been reading anything about it. And so I just want you to be aware, I know you are, what's going on. But I'm kind of loving Merrimack since I've been here about 5.5, 6 years now. And my heart's always been for the people who struggle. I'm not struggling right now, to be honest. I don't like some things that are going on, but I just want to commend you for being willing to be in leadership of our city and the city council, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you, bud.
if I could, real quick, when you're talking about the vision, just so you're aware, right now, we've engaged with and contracted with Wichita State to put together a 3 to 5 year plan for our city. And on, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mark, I think it's November 7th.
6.
6th is the parent group. I think the 7th is the open group upstairs.
Okay.
November 7th, which is next Monday, right? Am I right in saying that?
Yes.
Next Monday at 6:30 upstairs in the ballroom, Wichita State's gonna be holding an open focus group. So if you wanna come and get with them, they'll have some questions, you can provide feedback. And then there's also gonna be a community survey that's gonna come out after the first of the year. But I would encourage you to come to that meeting next Monday at 6:30 up in the ballroom. And they'll be there to be able to provide input and feedback on where our community goes over the next 3 to 5 years.
And he knew he was, and he's right. I just need to check my calendar before I speak.
Okay, well, thank you all for the time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mark, I'm just a little bit confused, like, on the water system that we just put in, how was that paid for? Was that loans or was that a bond?
The new water lines that you
Yes.
put in?
Yeah.
I can't answer
In
that.
that paid for using our fees.
Well,
It's
no.
KDHE.
Yeah, so that is a loan, that's not a bond.
No,
So
correct,
there's two different things that
correct,
we use in the city, bonds and loans.
correct.
The loans we control, and the bond should be put before the people.
No, that's not. There are bonds in the Kansas State statute, there are bonds that we as a city council can issue without a vote of the public that are typically in line with infrastructure, water lines, sewer lines, certain streets, things of that nature.
But
There are,
we don't use that, we use loans.
but
They're not
the
bonds.
only thing that I'm saying is that that is available to us. That's all I'm saying, is that those things are available to us. I'm not saying what we're utilizing, what we're not. What I'm stating is that those things are available to us as the city council.
Well, what I'm
I'm gonna
saying
step
is
over
that,
in Chris's world and say that bonds exist because of size of project and the interest rate that they command is better with a bond than it is a loan. For me, I get a cheaper interest rate if I do a bond than if I do a loan. So that means there's less of an encumbrance on the city. It's easy
like
for
doing a
me.
bond.
Yes, yes, with the interest rate, or I can do more with a bonded million than I can with a loan, because I get there's a cheaper interest rate.
Am I thinking wrong in thinking that there is no limit on bonds? I mean, we can borrow as much as we
No,
want.
there is a limit on the amount of money that a municipality is allowed to be indebted. I don't know what yours is, but there is.
Okay, thank
So
you.
those are those golden handcuffs that said, Ruth, you gotta stop. You know, and that's the way it is.
Okay. I just have been acquainted with the bonds that we've had in the past for like the auditorium and the swimming pool and the jail and
When it's-
everything.
I think a lot of times, it seems like when it's vertical, that's when it ends up going to the public a lot of times.
Yeah.
It is,
If it's
I don't think that's, I don't know that that's a hard and fast rule, but that's kind of what I've seen.
I'm just not aware of any bonds that's been used to put infrastructure in, is
Right.
what I'm trying to say. Everything that's, I guess, above ground.
You're
Well,
actually
savings for
using
people.
bond funds on your electrical upgrade, but the bonds were issued by
By the
KPP
yeah.
instead of you, which is good, because it doesn't go against your indebtedness level. I will tell you that there are telephone poles in the city of Marion, that if it wasn't for the trees blocking the wind, they would be laying in the street.
Yeah, I think
We
discussed
have,
that.
we have some infrastructure that desperately needs to be replaced. It has to be replaced. We don't have a choice. We've deferred maintenance. Will sooner or later come back to, the chickens will come home to roost. They're here. We've gotta take care of something.
If, nothing else, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, 4-0.
Yeah.
Minutes
Sorry,
for the
Chris.
record.
Sorry.